This is Cutting Down the Nets. This is the night edition. So we're going to be looking at the Tuesday, December 14th slate. So early lines, and I'll tell you how I am monitoring that. Which ones am I locking in? Which ones am I waiting on? You can always find me at BetStamp with user ID CDTN, abbreviation for Cutting Down the Nets. We're at 57.8% on the year, and the last 7 days, 53.3. So again, the goal is run the model, make a pool, and identify risk. Let's get to that pool. You're going to notice some green and some yellow. Green are bets that I have already made. Yellow I'm kind of monitoring. And then I have an orange that I'll get to as to how I'm handling that. All right, so here's the story with betting early. Typically, I've been releasing videos later in the day. When you bet early, you are assuming more risk. The line could move against you, but there is an opportunity to gain some closing line value over the course of the year. Again, I've bet 400 games. I think my closing line value is at 2.8%. So more often than not, I am beating the closing line and at a pretty good clip. However, these things happen. You can predict, but you can't know for sure which way these things are going to move. And it's just a little different animal when you're betting super early. However, I've been waiting a lot lately, and you end up just not gaining any value. You're just like, all right, well, that's the line now, and don't love that. All right, so let's whip through these games. I'll start with the green. These are ones I've already placed wagers on, and how I'd recommend handling them. Jacksonville, Southern Miss. I have Jacksonville by 8.3. Line is currently -1. KenPom line is -1. Torvik is 0. Something to note, Jacksonville is number 1 in three-point defense. Southern Miss is 3-3-3 in three-point offense. So, while some may view this as a strength, that like, ooh, that's an even better reason to bet Jacksonville. I typically look at it the other way, that both teams are probably due for some regression here. Now, here's the deal. That just means I don't think Jacksonville will finish the year as the number 1 three-point defense. It's possible they could. It's possible that Southern Miss finishes as the 333rd three-point offense. Who knows? But I mean that over the course of the season, I expect these things to regress a little bit given their 2-point defense, 2-point offense, those type of things. However, I do not think that means in this game it's all going to correct itself and all of a sudden Southern Miss goes, 12 out of 16 from three-point range. So I bet Jacksonville, good buffer there at 9-point variance from what their season-long efficiencies have. All right, next up, Jackson State at my alma mater, Northern Iowa in Cedar Falls, Iowa. I have UNI by 9, Torvik has 9.7, and KenPom has 11. So we have a consensus here around the 9 to 11 point range, and the current line is 15. Look, Jack State sucks. They're slow, really struggle to score. There's been a number of games where they could not crack 50 points this year. UNI does play a tad faster this year. They've been pretty inconsistent. When they're making threes, surprisingly, they do well, and when they're not, they don't. So I am just taking the value here at 15 points just being a bit too much, and I've locked that bet in. Again, maybe that climbs to 15.5, 16, and you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, should have waited. Maybe it drops to 13, and you feel like a genius. So that's up to you to decide. I have bet plus 15. Next up, Bama, Memphis. Few notes here. I think the line is fair, but most people will not. So KenPom has it at 2, Torvik at 1.2. I personally have it at 7.5 because I am ignoring preseason priors, and Memphis had a lot of preseason priors. So here's in most cases, I would say, wait and get a better number on Bama. I don't think that's the case. That's why I bet an early 3.5. It's currently 4, and I think it's only going to get worse if you want to back Bama. You certainly don't have to. I just don't see the public viewing a team that recently beat Gonzaga and Houston, like two of the top like five teams, going up against Memphis, who just looks in disarray, just lost to Murray State, not even playing well defensively, which is a surprise. But yeah, I just think this could keep climbing. I don't think it's warranted to climb too high, but I'm glad I've bet it and don't have to pay attention to that anymore. So something to note: Memphis has not played a team like Alabama this year. They've played a lot of teams with middling to low 3-point rates. They've played some slower teams, so this is just a different animal. And with Memphis turning the ball over 25% of the time, I mean, if Herb Jones didn't go pro, I'd pencil him in for like 11 steals in this game. But hey, I've been wrong before. That's why I rely on data and not narratives to make betting decisions. But this just feels like Memphis is going the wrong way and they're going there quickly. And I mean, Bama just broke Houston. I mean, they lost their composure late in that game, mainly over the goaltending call or lack thereof. But I mean, Memphis enters the game without composure. So get up and down with Bama, get some turnovers, get some infighting. Just feels like that could get out of control quickly. But again, I understand the line analytically, where KenPom has it, and why it's there. I'm just on the other side. Okay, so those are the green. I've bet them. Things that I would recommend betting early, in my opinion. Now let's get to the yellow. In each of these cases, I'm interested in the game. If I had to bet it at the number that currently exists, I would do it. I am just in no hurry to do that based on where the line is and where the KenPom line is and what I'm expecting to happen. First game, Monmouth and Yale. I have Monmouth by 4.5. KenPom has Yale by 2, and the actual line is 1. I'm hoping the line shifts towards Yale. Something to note, this is a short turnaround for both teams. Both played on Sunday. Oregon State, UC Davis, similar story. Line is 6. KenPom has it at 7. I have it closer to a pick'em. Oregon State obviously has a bad record. They are ranked pretty low analytically and in the win-loss column, but they've played a decent schedule. I mean, they're not good, but they certainly have played a fair schedule. So I don't know if I'd write that team off completely, and I'm not convinced UC Davis can make jump shots versus their zone. So I don't love 6. I want more, and that's kind of the story with all these. South Alabama is next. They are currently 7.5. KenPom has them at 5, so I'm hoping for a little dip there, and I think it actually was 8 a few hours ago, so maybe we are starting to see a trend there. So I'm going to be patient on that one. For some reason, the odds are not showing up on that game on BetStamp, but Bovada currently has that game live. You can bet it at 7.5. I'm going to wait on that one. Just something to note, South Alabama did play Wichita State and Bama pretty darn close, possession or two in both occurrences. And Tarleton State is coached by the Devil, Billy Gillespie. Next up, Asheville against Tennessee Martin. I had this game close to a pick'em. Tennessee Martin's getting 4.5 points. Even though KenPom has it at 4, I could see that line going up, just because Asheville's got a decent record. Tennessee Martin does not, and it's a tight line. So sometimes those grow. I don't have to bet that game, but something I'm looking at. We will need Tennessee Martin to get to the rim in that game. Greensboro Towson, similar story. I have 12.8. Current line is 8. KenPom has 6. So hoping for a little dip there, closer to the KenPom line. I've been on Towson for a while. just analytically, they show up well in my system. Maybe they had too poor of a preseason ranking that's dragging them down in the eyes of others. Austin Peay, South Florida. South Florida's horrible offense against Austin Peay's horrible defense. Probably a rough game. Line is 6. KenPom has 7. Hoping it grows before I bet that side. If it does not, I could just stay away. And then we got the 3-point shootout. Sam Houston State and North Texas, both above 44% 3-point rate in this game. Honestly, I hope it's a close game or North Texas loses because they get Wichita State next, and I feel like that's my spot I want to attack. So I likely won't play this game just because that's a big number to cover, and again, going to be a lot of threes. So that's kind of yellow. Mainly monitoring. Don't have to bet, but okay betting. You make your own decisions. This is, in my opinion, a good betting pool. The green I am comfortable with. So let's get to how I'd play the orange ones here. So a lot of big spreads. So while you may see a difference of 7 points when we're talking 30-point games, 7 points does not mean a whole lot to me. So in each of these cases, so I have LSU by closer to 40, the line's 31. Tennessee by not as many as the line, so 28 versus 33. Wichita State 14 versus 20. Houston 30 versus 23. And Auburn 23 versus 28. In each of these cases, I would consider the live line in games that I like the favorite to cover, if that makes sense. So if Northwestern State got up 10-2 on LSU, and for some reason we got like a minus 25 line in the first couple minutes, yeah, I might go there. I might go there on the live line for LSU, because now we're talking a 13-point difference between the live line and what I think LSU is. Northwestern State's typically fast, so could be a lot of possessions there where that could be amplified. Now, if Tennessee got up 10-2, I don't know if I feel the same way of like, okay, now USC Upstate's getting 37 points. Does that make me excited or not? Look, I don't know. That's why these are orange, but sometimes those orange produce some good betting opportunities. Something to note on Houston here. Lafayette has like 0 ball security, and I have Houston by 29. The line's 23. But ULL can rebound, which obviously is like the staple of Houston. And this game is sandwiched right in between that Bama game, and then next up is Okie State for Houston. So when you talk about situational betting, that's just something to note, and another reason why this is an orange and not a different color. North Alabama, Auburn. Whoo, daddy. Hard to bet against Auburn right now in any capacity. One of those teams that you could see knocked out early in the big dance, or just ride their variance to the Final Four, right? Arizona State Creighton. This opened at 6. That's why it's even on this list, but it jumped up to 7.5. And I think I would recommend staying away from this game for a couple reasons. ASU is still skewed by that Wazoo game when they had like 0.47 points per possession. So I think this line is 100% fair at 7.5, and I'm just not going to go there. So that's the pool. I wanted to be able to walk through, because you're going to see more of these videos posted at night, and how to handle that when you're deciding whether to bet early, wait, and that sort of stuff. So I've made 3 bets early. Those 3 bets are Jacksonville +1, Jackson State +15, and then Bama -3.5. The line's currently 4, and I have no problem betting that at 4. I think it's a fair line, but I don't believe it will go down based on the public perception of both teams. The monitoring pool, kind of that second tier there, just looking for more value. So I want to be on the UC Davis side. I want more points. I want to be on the South Alabama side. I don't want to lay 7.5. I'd rather lay like 5.5, 6. 6.5's fine. But if I had to lay 7.5, I'd take it. So in each of these cases, this is not a wait and don't bet. It's more of a just don't rush to bet. And as long as the line doesn't get worse, I'm comfortable going there. And if I do, you'll see it on BetStamp. So that's it for today. I'm gonna try and do more of these at night because I think just access to better lines is good for everybody. And appreciate you stopping by. So things will start to pick up here towards the weekend because the slates are a little gross during the week with it being like finals week and stuff like that. So thank you for stopping by. A little peek behind the curtain, and I look forward to seeing you again. And good luck cashing those bets.